at some point.
Good morning, everybody. Wanted to welcome you to UCLA Health Lakers Training Center. We're excited for you guys to be here, functioning normally again. It's good to see everybody. And Darvin and I are excited to be here to answer the questions you have about our season. So let's get to it.
Coach, and Rob, Jim Hill, CBS 2 and KCAL. Now, this is a question for both of you. Is this year a sense of redemption because of what happened last year, not even making the playoffs? And how excited are you about hurry up and getting started?
I'm extremely excited. I think, last year was what it was. There was a variety of circumstances that, led to the team playing the way they did, and the lack of success that the team had last year. It's a variety of, you had COVID, injuries, and whatnot. This year we've turned the page. We're looking out the windshield, not so much through the rearview mirror. We're excited about the group Rob and I put together. We're excited about the summer we've had thus far. I think we're going to create an identity. I'm super duper thrilled to get started tomorrow. Just to start from day one establishing that defensive identity, that competitive nature, that competitive energy throughout the environment. And last year's last year. This year's a whole new chapter. And we're just going to take every single day, bust our butts, work our tails off, and try to embrace the journey in order to get to the destination that we want.
Darvin and I have spent hundreds of hours in the offices behind you, just going over and over again how we want this team to reflect some of the qualities he stands for the most. And he alluded to that. Our Lakers fans deserve one thing. They deserve a team that is going to compete the hardest of any team in the NBA. And that's what Darvin stands for as a coach. He's got strong shoulders and a tough mindset. And we wanted to make sure that we're guys on our roster this year that reflected those qualities. And we'll reflect it every night they play in Crypto.com Arena and on the road. And we have an incredibly strong leader in Darvin that's going to command that. And frankly, has shared with me and the team that guys that don't do that will see themselves not getting minutes, because the guys that play the hardest are going to earn those spots.
Obviously, there's a new staff, and Darvin's in now. But when last season ended, Russell Westbrook kind of explained that he felt like he didn't get a fair chance, and it seemed like there was certainly strain there. During this offseason, what steps has the organization taken to kind of, restore trust between Russ and the organization, and how would you describe the current state of alignment with Russ?
Russ has been great all offseason. Several meetings with Jeannie, with myself, with Coach, with all of us. I think you look at the most recent comments he had on ESPN last night, that he's all in. He's all in to do whatever it takes for this team to win, in whatever role that means. But Russ is an extremely competitive basketball player and person. And as much as anybody in this room, he wants to win, and wants to win at a high level and to be a part of that. And so he has reflected that all offseason, that he's all in here, wants to do whatever it takes to win. And Coach is confident that he can fit all these pieces together in a way to do that. But that's been the theme of our conversations with him over the last several weeks.
He's been awesome. I mean, everything I've asked of him, he's done. asked him to come in and, marinate with the young guys. He's done that, throughout his own regimen, individual regimen and training methods that he's done for years. Anytime, again, we call on him, we talk to him, everything has been about, being selfless, being team-oriented, having a defensive mindset, holding him to that. It's words that came out of his own mouth that, he's going to be at a very high level defensively and along with the rest of our roster. And so that communication, that trust that we've developed throughout the summer, we expect it to carry on once camp starts and throughout the season.
Hi, Darvin. Good to see you. On that note with Russ, do you see him as the definitive starter this season, or have you entertained the possibility of bringing him off the bench?
We're a ways away. I mean, we got several options. Obviously we signed Dennis, we signed Pat Bev, we got a healthy Kendrick Nunn, along with Russell himself, Austin Reeves. So we have a variety of options to fulfill in our backcourt. But again, as I mentioned, defensively, we got to have a defensive mindset. Those are the guys that's going to get the minutes. Guys who are going out there to get stops. And he said he's told me personally he's going to commit to that side of the ball, and that's what camp is for. We'll see. But we have more than enough options that we're comfortable with.
Hey guys, Dan Weinke with the LA Times. There's been a lot of attention paid to Russ this summer, but I'm curious, with LeBron and Anthony haven't really been able to be on the court for extended stretches together these last 2 years. What is sort of the plan to keep them as available as possible? LeBron has resisted load management in the past. Is that on the table? I'm curious kind of what the philosophy is to keep those guys as present as they need to be.
I think we have a great medical staff. LeBron has been an incredibly high-functioning, one of the greats of all time at taking care of his body and putting in the time and the resources around doing that. His team is led by Mike Mancias, our staff, who does an incredible job keeping him ready and available, and we'll be thoughtful around that planning. And obviously Anthony last year just had, a tough set of injuries, came down on a guy's foot, had a devastating ankle, injury that cost him most of the season. Those things you can't control, but the things that you can, he's committed to. This offseason, he's been in the weight room, he's been on the court. I think you guys will see a stronger version, and he's hungry. He's ready to take on even more of a leadership position here. Coach and I were joking the other day when he came upstairs, and Coach was going over the offensive set, and Anthony just said, "You don't have to worry about that, Coach. I got you covered." So he's coming in with a mindset of leadership, and I think you guys will be pleasantly surprised with what he's done with his body and how he plays and how he carries himself. So, but to answer your question, we'll be mindful and thoughtful in managing the load and the minutes. But also, we have a team of guys that want to play and want to give our fans that effort we talked about at the beginning every night they play.
Yeah, just to piggyback off that, just being efficient with how we practice, how we manage shoot-arounds, how we manage their minutes. I don't need Bron or AD playing playoff minutes in October, November, December. Once we establish our rotation, looking for different ways to minimize the load on their bodies whenever possible. And again, being mindful of practice times, practice duration, game schedule, being strategic in that area as well. So we just feel good about where they are today, and to continue keep putting healthy days together as much as possible is at the top of the list, top priority. But we'll manage them well to make sure that they're getting stronger as the season gets longer and they're hitting on all cylinders at the right time of year.
Hey, Robert. Darvin had mentioned the guard depth earlier, and I know you're always looking throughout the season at ways to improve the roster. Just wonder what you thought of the front court depth, the players that can be difficult to acquire, and how you see that as a fluid process as the year goes on.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for us is, looking at the nature of certain players that we acquired. And obviously by trade, we went out and got Patrick Beverly, who is just a tenacious, hard-playing leader, defender, agitator, a guy that's going to pick up full court, harass the other team's guards. I think if you studied the EuroLeague tournament this summer and just saw the way Dennis Schroeder became just a tenacious guard that picked up full court, did a lot of research about where he's at this point in his career, and he was a great leader there. And I think guys like that can be a menace defensively. I think you look at guys like Juan Toscano-Anderson who are willing to play a role and just play tough. You start adding enough guys to the team that have that mentality about them, and it takes over. And that fits coach's style. That's what we're going to call on every night. This is a guard-heavy league, we know that, and so having multiple guards with multiple skills and positions that can play different ways. I think Patrick Beverly can guard wings. We look at him as a 3-and-D wing. Dennis can obviously make plays with the ball, but having multiple guards that can do multiple things, I think dimensionalizes our backcourt.
Yeah, over here, Bill Plaschke, LA Times for Rob. I know Russell said he's all in on you guys. How all in are you on him? Can you say with assurance he's going to be with the team at the start of the season or even at the end of the season?
Bill, great question. I think our job as a front office, led by myself and with other great basketball minds that help, Jesse Buss, Joey Buss, Kurt Rambis, we work closely with Darvin every day to make sure we assemble a team that has players on it that reflect his mentality. And with that, for any player on our team, I think you have to always be evaluating the roster. You know, a great friend once said, a job's never finished, job's not done, right? We know that. So if we have to continue to upgrade our roster throughout the season, we will. That's what the trade deadline is for and other things. But Russell Westbrook is a great part of our team. He's a person of high character, high work ethic, one of the greats to ever play the game. And I think that Coach Ham is going to bring another level out of him that we didn't see last year. I see a relationship forming between Russ and Coach of trust and confidence. And I think that's what opens up the communication for him to say some of the things he shared yesterday. And, you know, in terms of, you asked questions about trades, you know, one thing that needs to be made clear is there's a lot of speculation. Will the Lakers trade their picks? Will they not trade their picks? Let me be abundantly clear. We have one of the great players in LeBron James to ever play the game on our team. And he committed to us with a long-term contract, a 3-year contract. So of course, we will do everything we can, picks included, to make deals that give us a chance to help LeBron get to the end. He committed to our organization. That's got to be a bilateral commitment, and it's there. But let me be also clear that you have to understand the CBA and things like the Ted Stepien rule, which teams can't trade all their picks every year. You can only trade every other year. As everybody in the room knows, in 2025, most likely we still owe a pick in the Anthony Davis trade. And so then if you include 27, the 2027 pick and the 2029 pick, all your picks are gone. You have one shot to make a trade with multiple picks. So if you make that trade, and I'm not talking about any particular player on our team, but if you make that trade, it has to be the right one. You have one shot to do it. So we're being very thoughtful around the decisions on when and how to use draft capital in a way that'll improve our roster. And again, as I started the question by saying, we are committed to doing everything we can to put the best team around LeBron, as long as it's a smart trade, because of the limitations caused by the Stepien rule and the implications of that.
Rob and Darvin, good to see you guys. I think objectively, if we look at last season, there was a mix of things that didn't go in your favor. There was health, there was some aging role players that weren't as effective as you hoped they could be. There was perhaps a difficult fit between the stars and shooting. So out of that group, if you agree that that's kind of the summation of how things went, how do you think you address those as a front office in the offseason?
Dave, I was hoping by signing a Syracuse player, we would address all your concerns. Listen, again, I think looking at the roster as a whole, there's no perfect roster that takes care of every single need in a game. You could go through all 30 teams and find things that they have or don't have. I think in terms of shooting, we know that's a needed skill Some of that can come from the outside by additional roster moves or roster moves during the season. But shooting growth can also come from within. And we do feel like there are players on our team this year that you're going to see that growth. And I know that Coach sees that as well and has confidence in this group of guys and how they're going to be able to score the ball. But I'll let you talk more to that.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where it's just not trying to find specialists. We want basketball players, and we're going to get enough reps day in and day out from the three-point line. Once we come out and develop and establish our spacing, our running habits, those things are going to open up. And these guys, we have very confident players from that range that's going to be able to get stuff done from the perimeter. But again, you know, the best offense is having a great defense and being able to create turnovers, being able to create fast break opportunities, being able to collapse the defense because you are running and not playing against a set defense and everyone is scrambling. And the way Bron sprays the ball out, the way Russ sprays the ball out, AD, like guys they're going to give their teammates confidence and we'll be able to make threes. And again, it's a day-by-day process. The more reps you get, the more confidence you get. But we're extremely confident in our roster's ability to make shots from that range.
Rob, Darvin, how are you guys?
So, PT.
Darvin, is the idea to have everything sort of revolve around AD and LeBron? And how do you guys make that work offensively and defensively?
Yeah, you know, my thing is offensively, we want to play fast, we want to be physical and play free. And fast meaning our running habits, getting AD on that left block, getting Bron around the elbow area. There's a variety of sets that we have planned to install that's going to highlight, you know, their strengths. Get Russ to post more. Like, we're going to have a variety of different play calls. Just our natural early offense, our natural running habits are going to be intact. They've already been sprinkled in the workouts a little bit, so they're very familiar with how we want to space a 4-out, 1-in spacing, keeping an immediate threat by the rim at all times, you know, making it difficult for teams to double team successfully. And again, defensively, contain, contest, and control. We want to contain the ball at all times, we want to contest shots, and we want to control the glass. So what we're going to do in these next upcoming days, training camp starting tomorrow, and it's already kind of been established throughout the summer with our summer league team, with our individual group workouts in August and September. These guys know how I want to play. And again, it starts with getting stops, and we got guys who play through Bron all night, we can play through AD all night, we can play through Russ. The biggest thing is going to be establishing the confidence throughout other guys that's on the floor with those guys to make their job even easier in the latter stages of the game. So we have a variety of different weapons and ways we're going to be able to be successful on the offensive side of the ball. And again, defensively, first and foremost, getting stops.
Rob, you mentioned the limitations with building the perfect roster, and you're never going to have, you know, the perfect lineup. But I'm curious on the wing defense, how you guys view kind of, you know, where you're at defensively on the wing, and are there guys that you feel like could surprise and you know, maybe guard out, you know, bigger positions or do better than, you know, they've done in the past?
Just quickly, I'll let Darvin address it. I mean, I think we know that we have the ability to be, you know, big in the backcourt with our bigs, Anthony Davis, Damian Jones, Thomas Bryant. You know, LeBron can play any position on the court, and so I think guys on the wing that have good size like Juan Toscano Anderson and Troy Brown Jr. are going to have to play a big role, and we do expect those guys to do that. Wing depth, shooting depth, those are always things that probably every roster in the league would say we'd love to have more. But we have a strong belief in some of the new guys that we signed to be able to step up and fill that need for us. Yeah,
piggyback off Rob, definitely all across the board. You know, you look at Dennis and what he's able to do defensively. You look at Russ, his commitment to that end of the floor is going to be crucial this season. Pat Bev, you know, his resume kind of speaks for itself. Bron is a capable defender, a high-level elite defender. He's shown that time and time again. AD, you know, able to switch, Damian, able to block shots. Thomas Bryant, his communication skills on that side of the ball. So Lonnie Walker, JTA, Juan Toscano, we're going to be able to get stops. We should be one of the elite defensive teams in the league. We're going to put the work in. We're going to do the breakdowns. We have the personnel for it. And now it's just all about activating it and make it come to fruition.
Hey guys, excuse me, really quick follow-up. Is Kendrick been cleared for full practice? And I guess what's the injury status of guys as you start tomorrow? Who will be available, who won't be?
Yeah, so with Dennis Schroeder still working through his visa issues, that's just a normal process, obviously, to get cleared to come in. So we're hoping within the next week. Right now, Troy Brown Jr. Has a back thing where he's going to probably do mostly non-contact drills for at least the next week or so. Lonnie Walker has a slight ankle issue, so most of his participation in training camp tomorrow will be non-contact, but he's healing well. I think those are the biggest two sort of injury things. And then what was the last player? And then Kendrick Nunn has been cleared for both contact and non-contact drills, and has been looking really good. But we'll continue to be mindful and monitor to that with our medical staff, given that he missed the entire season last year, but so far so good. Thank you.
Thanks.